it's a good conspiracy. And the main thing that I think in my opinion, the best piece of the claim clinic, which I have zero way to fact proof this, but VES is there and OptumServe is there doing C&P exams. Rand Paul, who's a senator for Kentucky, he's going to be here today. The undersec of VBA is going to be here today. The VA secretary and all the VA big heads are going to come this week, okay, throughout the week. And if I'm VES, if I run a company, because make no doubt, VES is a government contracting company. The client is here, okay, and they're coming.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, okay, well, who do I want to do these C&P exams? I'm certainly not going to pick the turd on the shelf, okay? So the C&P examiners that Jason and I talk so well about, that really, really, really suck, okay? I own VES. I'm not putting them in the lineup for this week. Not even close, right? You take vacation days, stay at home, don't even come to work. I'm going to get my A-team C&P examiners here.
Zero complaints.
Some indicators I saw was 3 veterans that I know from the channel came up and talked to me, and prior to their exam, they had sleep apnea secondary to mental health. All 3 of them did. One was PTSD, one was anxiety, the other one was some other mental health condition. And I'm like, hey, just so you guys know, this is like a 50-50, like the VA is very, 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 very picky when it comes to sleep apnea secondary. It's possible, but then they go through their exam extremely quick, and every one of them, hey, I got a favorable Nexus, I'm going to be 100%. Well, 2 of them got 100% off of that. The other one got service connected for sleep apnea. And that's what made me think. I was like, they have good examiners in there. Like, they have examiners that are actually looking at the evidence. There's definitely not going to be, a nurse practitioner looking at sleep apnea to PTSD. VES is not going to put that in the lineup when the client is at the clinic.
Right.
And so that's probably, if I was to choose one thing about the VA claim clinic that really sets it apart, it's got to be the C&P exams, because we know that is the number one variable in everyone's claim. And if they're going to put their best staff in exams, I would say it's worth it. Not only is it fast, but now you have a C&P examiner who's worth their weight, if you will. There's no way I can prove that. That's just
you didn't have a scale. You didn't have a scale to weigh them.
Yeah. So I'm gonna have to. We did interview a VES representative, not a C&P examiner, and it was a little weird because I was explaining to him, like, hey, I'm with YouTube. I'm here for the VFW. Doing some series. We're asking you what your best advice is, and in my head, I'm thinking, man, I have talked so much baloney about this company, and you're about to support the channel. So thank you very much. Right. I'm not going to tell them that, but they'll find it out sometime. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the claim clinic as a whole. The C&P exams, I think, are the best option. Speed is a part of that. And obviously, I think the arguments you brought up, a ton of veterans are going to resonate with that. I resonate with that. I definitely agree. And I think it really comes down, the last thing I'll say on VA claim clinic, and I'll turn it over to you, is if the VA is going to push this, which the VA secretary during press conferences loves talking about VA claim clinics, okay? They're awesome. They're so great. If the VA is going to do that, they need to do it. Like, full on do it. They need to double down. And if not, don't. Like, we can't have this this kind of in between where it's like, well, we saw 15 veterans today. It's like, okay, I mean, don't even do it, Like, we're talking about thousands. And I know I said that's the last thing. That wasn't the last thing. I lied to you. Here's the last thing. Another thing that came out of the VA claim clinic for me is I saw at least 50 veterans in one day, in about 5 hours, submit a claim, have it adjudicated to the C&P exam, order the exam, have it adjudicated, and the rating be awarded in 5 hours. That tells me it's possible. They can do it, right? So 6-7 months, I think, is clearly after this weekend. I think that's clearly unacceptable, right? Someone's not doing their job. Someone's not doing it correctly. Something's happening, because if the VA can work like this, start to finish, there's absolutely no way from CP exam to decision, it should take 4 months. I mean, that's ridiculous. Okay, I'll get off my rant horse, Jason.
Yeah.
Last thoughts on VA Claim Clinic.
Yeah, I'm glad you threw in that last piece about the post CMP exam, because the upfront stuff, sometimes it's us that drag it on, right? I don't want to go get my medical information. Here, let me fill out this form, send it to you. Now you got to reach out to my doctor. Now you try. They have to give it a couple tries. That's going to take a couple months, and so things get dragged on. Or we start submitting additional evidence, and then all of a sudden it's like it keeps putting it back as you keep sending them stuff. So yeah, the post CMP exam, I agree. It shouldn't be more than 2 months anyway. In a 1 month kind of a time frame from CMP. From CMP, and this is the hard part, from CMP received.
Yeah,
right?
That's another factor.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, sometimes they sit on it for 3 weeks. So from the time the CMP exam information, DBQ, all that stuff is received by the VA, I think a month is kind of probably the target, within a month time frame for a decision. I mean, you have everything you need. So I think that I know I went heavy on kind of negative on the claims clinic thing, but I think that it's just it's the thing that glares out to me beyond the sure glitz and glamour, cool, done in a day. Well, what about the other 300,000 people, right?
Yeah.
So that's now all that to say is that look, if you have the opportunity to go to one, why not? Sure, go. I mean, one more person. What the hell, And it'll show that there's, I guess, a desire for that. Again, I'm just going to kind of double down. I think that it should be the worst type of situations, the harder to deal with claims, that type of stuff. I think that should be the focus, and I think that they should roll them out nationally, like you had mentioned, on a quarterly basis. And I think that the map overlay of VHA would be an appropriate way to do that, and just work with the veteran service organizations. It's, look, I'm not trying to take anything away. I feel weird a little bit about it because I was kind of a downer on it. It is exciting. That's cool. I love that. But it's hard to say that when you know that there's still a backlog, right? So it's hard to be excited about the shift in priority. And I get it. The VFW is pushing on it. And look, for some folks, if you don't have any other way to file a claim, you don't feel comfortable doing it yourself, you can't find a VSO to help you, and this happens to be in your backyard, awesome. There's your great opportunity to go sit and actually work with somebody, which people need. And that's why it's so important to find a veteran service officer if you can, or veteran service rep, accredited rep, to help you if you have that ability. I am going to throw this out there, Clay, and I know that it's I'm reaching a little bit here. So, sure, the VA secretary is going to talk about how awesome this is. Why? Because he's $15 billion in the hole, didn't explain it to Congress, waited until after the House already figured out their spending bill, after the Senate already marked up theirs, and then they're coming back going, well, you know what, this fiscal year that we're currently in, we're going to be short almost $3 billion for veterans benefits like pension and some other things. So we'd like to let you know that today. And oh, by the way, we're going to be short about $13 billion for next fiscal year. That's with a B. Sorry, I didn't have anybody competent to figure that out with the idea of PACT Act and the pushing of people filing intent to files and filing claims for PACT Act related presumptive conditions. And, let's throw in the couple Vietnam presumptive conditions that Vietnam veterans should have gotten many years ago. I mean, the fact hypertension wasn't on there was ridiculous anyway. Then you had all of the electronic, tech calamities that they've had. You've had the COVID forbearance, where all of a sudden you have all these foreclosures happening on people who were already in a bad situation because of the VA's mismanagement and inability to crystal ball, hey, if we stop doing this, people will actually get foreclosed on. Oh, wow, that really did happen. Then what else, Clay? We got pensions. All these pension overpayments, right? The most vulnerable of all of us are those on pension, right? Those are war period veterans who are low and no income, and spouses, surviving spouses, by the way, who are receiving a small pension from the VA because they're low and no income. Well, they overpaid them for a decade, and now and what are the overpayments, right? Couple $1,000s a year or something like that. Well, that adds up. And then all of a sudden they want to take that back from the most vulnerable and get those people pushed down on the street. And believe me, the VA has effed up so many times to have something good to talk about, even if they don't own it. The VFW owns it.
Yeah.
Right? He's just happy to have something to talk about that's good. You can't ride the PACT. And we implemented the PACT Act and people, good. I mean, whatever. You didn't do anything, right?
Yeah.
What'd you do? You ended up being $15 billion short because you couldn't forecast. I don't know. I'm very disheartened with the whole. I can be irritated and move on over one or two things, but when it's just, my God, huge. Like, and these are things, Clay, that it's like, all right, Clay, I got a big problem for you here. 7 plus X equals 11. What is X, right? These people couldn't figure that out. Like, it was that easy of a thing, right? If we're increasing veteran input, right? Bringing more veterans into the fold. And oh, by the way, we opened up healthcare, right? Mm-hmm. To allow more war period veterans into the healthcare without any other qualifiers, right? Good. It's all good things. It's going to cost more money, right? So I don't know.